Peach Guitars is the only UK guitar dealer to benefit from having a Plek machine in store. The pinnacle of guitar setup, Plek will take your guitar to a whole new level. Under the guidance of our skilled technicians, Plek performs a comprehensive diagnostic scan before levelling and dressing the frets with razor-sharp precision, giving your guitar the optimum playing action with no loss of sustain and a balanced feel across the whole neck. To add a Plek setup to your order, simply click the Add Plek button on the product listing screen and one of our team will be in touch. Peach Guitars is the only UK guitar dealer to benefit from having a Plek machine in store. The pinnacle of guitar setup, Plek will take your guitar to a whole new level. Under the guidance of our skilled technicians, Plek performs a comprehensive diagnostic scan before levelling and dressing the frets with razor-sharp precision, giving your guitar the optimum playing action with no loss of sustain and a balanced feel across the whole neck. To add a Plek setup to your order, simply click the Add Plek button on the product listing screen and one of our team will be in touch.
How you guys doing? You doing all right? Right on. How many of you guys were here last time I was here? Thanks for coming back. I'm just gonna play a couple of tunes, I think, and then bring my buddy Derek up. We're gonna kind of do a live and in-person version of our podcast, and open up to questions and basically just hang out. Heartbeat, just like a Morse code. Hot flash, Monday night. Can't believe in what I am feeling. Something stealing my shining light. By back roads, gravel and gasoline. Gonna see you by tonight. Backwards, gravel and gasoline. Gonna see you by tonight. I got my hands on the wheel, eyes on the horizon. Back in the driver's seat again. Back in the driver's seat again. In the church now, I've been thinking, I've been listening for my heart. And in the parish hall, I've been drinking all the holy water for my art. Hold me in your arms and keep me safe from danger. Ask not for me to do now. Keep me in your favor. I got my hands on the wheel, eyes on the horizon. Back in the driver's seat again. Back in the driver's seat again. I got a feeling I'm wide awake and dreaming. I've got a feeling I'm wide awake and dreaming. Back in the driver's seat again. 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 Thank you. I was just doing some math there while I was playing that song, and it's like 7 years since I was here last. It's fucking crazy. We had a whole life and a pandemic, and you guys okay? I had 2 kids. I have 2 kids now. Thanks. It was really hard for me, you know. I did a lot of soul searching, and no, I'm kidding. Last time I was here, my wife was with me, and she'd be so disappointed to hear me say what I just said. Yeah, I got 2 beautiful little girls, and they are everything to me. And I'm so happy to be here with you guys, but it's so hard to be away from them right now. Well, the little one is 1, and my older one is 4, and this is the first time I left home, and my older daughter was really, really upset to see me go. It was like heartbreaking. Like when I was going on the road when she was little, she didn't give a shit. She would just be like, "Bye, Dad. As long as Mom's here, I'm fine." But yeah, she's pretty heartbroken. But anyway, I'll play you some songs that I wrote for the girls for our new record. But right now, I'll play you something familiar, maybe. It starts out slow with go ahead and go. Pretty soon a melody is like a rainstorm tin roof symphony. It starts out slow. It goes on and on for way too long. Always ends on a bad note. You could dance it all, you dance alone. Goes on and on. The quiet behind the slamming door. The break of a heart that won't break no more. Getaway wheels in a straight line. Serenade of a made up mind. There ain't no rhyme, just wasted time. And moonlight spotlight shining down on a made up mind and a love gone wrong. There ain't no rhyme. The quiet behind the slamming door. The break of a heart that won't break no more. Getaway wheels in a straight line. Serenade of a made up mind. The quiet behind the slamming door. The break of a heart that won't break break no more. Getaway wheels in a straight line. Serenade of a made-up mind. A made-up mind. Thank you. I showed my oldest daughter a picture that the Peach guys put up for this event, and I was like, "Hey, Joni, check this out. Look at this is Daddy, like a long time ago." And she was like, "That's you?" I was like, "Yeah, I used to have hair and stuff." It's funny, like at 4 years old, she's pretty mean. The other day she asked me, she said, "Dad, are you 38 or are you 83? I can't remember." I was like, "Come on, you're just being hurtful." This is one I wrote about the girls for our new records coming out in at some point. It will come out November. Thank you. Checks in the mail, James. November 14th. Yeah. Actually, cool story about this one. So that last song that I played is a song of ours called Made Up Mind, which got picked up by one of our heroes, Bonnie Raitt. She recorded it for her last record, and it was a crazy dream come true thing that I never ever bothered dreaming would happen. And that sort of turned into a chain of events where all of a sudden she has my phone number, and sometimes she calls me on the phone. Is that Katie? No? Okay, never mind. Katie? No? Are you not Katie? Oh, fuck, you really look like my friend Katie. So now she has my phone number, and she calls me sometimes. It's very, very weird. So we're working on our record, and a mutual friend was like, "You should send some of these songs to Bonnie and see if she'll sing on your record." I was like, "Okay." So we sent her the record, and she was like, "I think I would like to sing on one of the songs, but I can't decide between these three." So we're like, "Just pick whichever one you like the most. You're Bonnie Raitt. You do whatever you want." And then she called us on the day that she was supposed to record. She was like, "I can't make up my mind. So would it be okay if I sang on 2 songs?" And to which we obviously responded, "Yeah, that should be fine." So she graciously added a background harmony on this song, which is like the coolest thing in the world. Anyways, this is called Half Moon Eyes. You and your half moon eyes lying in my arms tonight. No lightning, no thunder could ever steal your wonder. You and your half moon eyes. You and your starlight smile, white as a river now, like no earthly treasure, it shines on forever. You and your starlight smile. I'd rather have a heart of broken glass than one made out of stone. And I'd rather pick the pieces off the ground than always have to roll. that's always how I was. Now everywhere I go is on my way back home to you and your half moon eye. This is where the guitar solo goes. But I can't stop playing this, otherwise it feels really lame. So you have to wait till November 14th till the record comes out. I'd rather have a heart of broken glass than one made out of stone. And I'd rather pick the pieces off the ground than always have to roll. You and your half moon, you and your half moon. Hey, you and your half moon, you and your half moon eyes. Thank you very much. Anything you guys want to hear? Forgiveness? That's so hard to play by myself, dude. Also so hard to play by myself. Keep going. Don't say Tapping on the Glass. That was also very hard to play. Stay? All right, I can't keep saying no. Okay. Maybe I'll do one more tune here, and then I'll get Derek up, and we'll start our shenanigans here. There's something about this time of year. There's something about the look on your face. It makes me want to stick around for more than just a couple days. There must be something in the atmosphere that's got me spinning in your space. I can put some roots in the ground, a fixed address beneath my name. Something in the way you are, something in the way you light this place. Well, I just wanna stay. I just wanna stay a little longer. Maybe we could be a family. Maybe I could even something. I could get myself a day job, a 9 to 5, and meet those ends. No use in complaining, and things shouldn't change. I'm just saying, I just wanna stay. I just wanna stay a little longer. Don't let me push you away, no. I just wanna stay a little longer. just wanna stay a little longer. Oh, I just wanna stay. I just wanna stay a little longer. Thank you. Folks, welcome to the stage, Derek Eastfield. So, how many of you guys have checked out our little podcast, The Golden Age of Gear? Anybody tuned in? Nice, 3 people. Hell yeah. Thank you all so much for those dozens and dozens of views.
Yes, the tens of views per week that we get. Yeah, Joey said, I'm Derek. We do a little podcast every week. I'm one of the owners at Revv Amps, and Joey and I have known each other for over a decade now. I've had the privilege of, watching him as a player local to me from probably, honestly, you were probably just barely 18, 19 when I first started seeing you come across stages that I'd be working on. And yeah, it's just such a treat to have somebody that is such a phenomenal guitar player and musician so close to us and work so closely with us on products over the years. So that's kind of what inspired our podcast, was that, Joey and I have been trading gear back and forth for most of that decade. Either I'd buy some stuff from him that he wasn't using anymore.
When I was broke and had to pay my rent.
Yep, that too. Or, I'd get something cool and I'd be like, hey, have you ever seen or tried this? And he'd be like, nope, what is it? And I'd show you, and he'd be like, can I have it for a bit? and then I would buy another one sometime later. So, so we wanted to come do kind of a little bit of what we do on the Golden Age of Gear here tonight, and it's very much just us, trying to find something that the other person has not checked out. And I do want to say one other thing quickly. You guys are so lucky to have a store like this in your area, because I travel all over North America going to guitar stores, and there is nothing like this in all of North America. There are some cool shops, but in all honesty, what John and his team have built here is just phenomenal, and I wish we had more of it everywhere. So you guys are, extremely lucky, and thanks to John and team for having us here tonight to hang out. So, So I picked a guitar for Joey to check out tonight. What we did is earlier in the day, and this is what we do whenever we come to shops like this, is we try to go find cool things that we think the other person won't have tried. And
or the other person would maybe hate.
Yes, that also. So I picked a guitar, and then he also picked a guitar for me. So what do you want to start with?
I just finished playing for 20 minutes, so it's your turn.
It's my turn to... Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you have to play when I play. So, yeah. So, anyway... So Joey picked a Duesenberg Star Player for me, and I have a lot of guitars and I don't have any Duesenbergs, and I think that was probably part of why you picked this.
Yeah, and this guitar has the Split King dual coil pickups, which is the same pickup that I have in the TBL Alliance guitar.
Okay.
So it's kind of like the pickups are supposed to be a humbucker, capable of great humbucker sounds and single coils, true humbucker, true single coil in one pickup.
Okay, cool. I'm a huge fan of Les Paul style guitars, and so it's, all fairness, I did play it just before to make sure that it was sound checked properly, but. You want to play?
Yeah.
So not that any of you guys care what I think about a guitar, but the thing that I'm most impressed with is the neck. That is the number one thing whenever I pick up an instrument that is, what makes it workable for me, because I'm not a pro guitar player like Joey. So I want something that's going to be nice and easy, that I'm not going to fight to play it at all. And the neck on this feels fantastic. The shape of it's awesome. This finish, whatever this is called, like it's a matted finish, is really nice because it's nice and smooth.
I like guitars that have necks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we've established that, we were talking about this last month when we were shooting some of the episodes. I have a thing. How many of you guys in the audience are super protective of your number one guitar? You can put your hand up higher. So. Okay. Yeah. If anything happens to my favorite, I have two favorite guitars. If anything happens to the necks on them, I get so pissed, because it just bugs the shit out of me when you run your neck or hand along the neck and you feel just a little nick or a little ding. And I came back from I was at the Warped Tour in California, and I came back, and some of our guys at Revv had done our live stream, and my number one and my number two guitar. My number one, there was 3 dings at the 5th fret, the 7th fret, and kind of up near the 10th. On my number one guitar, and on my number two guitar is a Novo Ceres J. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with Novo, but I got back, and there's just buckle rash from somebody having a pocket knife or something in their pocket, and it was just chewed to shit. And I was like, how did you guys wreck both of my favorite guitars? I was gone for 3 days. But I got the neck filled and fixed by a luthier friend of mine, and I remember talking to you. I'm like, does this stuff bother you? And you were like, no.
It doesn't.
It doesn't at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My guitars always wind up trashed.
Yeah, I don't mind if it's some guitars I don't care about. There's just some that, it just bothers me. How about you guys? Does dicks and dings, does anybody care? No? The more dings, the cooler? You care? Yeah? What, really? Do you like relic guitars then if they're already relicked? No? Yeah. All right. Well, I like relic guitars. So if it looks beat the shit, as long as the neck's okay, I'm fine. But so that's the things I kind of noticed the most about this. And I did like the fact that I didn't really have to do anything for it to sound good in all 3 pickup selections on here. I didn't mess with the.
That's the nice thing with those pickups, is they're pretty chimey. Even if you just back the volume off a tiny bit, they get pretty chimey. So
yeah, my signal chain. So I'm running into. It's actually a new amp that's coming out at Guitar Summit this week. This is the new D20 Mark II head into the 1x12 cabinet that goes with it, and I have a pedal board, but I have our boost pedal and an MXR carbon copy is all I have on. But yeah, it's nice and. Spank's really nice. Like, yeah. Anybody here own Duesenbergs? What do you got? Nice. Very nice. I mean, I've played that guitar like once because I can't play in his tuning nor with his strings because I don't have proper guitar player hands. But
I mean, I can't really play it either, to be honest, so it's fine.
If your definition of you playing is can't play it, we're all screwed. So, yeah, love how comfortable it is. They look fantastic, and yeah, the pickups do sound great. So the switches on here, you're saying we're splitting. These are for split coil?
Yeah, I can't remember which way they are. I think the bottom one is for the back pickup and the top one's for the neck pickup.
Yep, that's the neck there. Yeah, sounds great. Very cool. Okay. So the guitar I chose for you to check out.
Okay.
Which obviously you guys can feel free to try all this stuff afterwards. But anyone here familiar with James Tyler guitars? Yeah? Anybody tried the new JTGs? So I have a James Tyler Studio Elite, and the guys over there are really good friends with us. And I had been telling Joey about it because Joey got to try my Studio Elite after I got it. And I had said, like, they have a new import model that we share space at NAMM with a couple of different guitar brands. So James Tyler's often at Revv's booth. And this year when I was setting up our wall that had all of our Dynamis series amps on it, that's the wall that James Tyler stuff was on. They had 4 guitars there. So when I went to play test all of them, the guitar that I picked up was the JTG, and I didn't know that it wasn't one of the USA model guitars. Rich, who's from Tyler, had just like showed up, left the guitars, and then taken off. And so I started to play it, and Rich came over, and he was like, hey, how do you like that guitar? And I'm like, it's awesome. I'm like, everything you guys build is awesome. And I said, I thought you said you have a new import. Like, where's that? And he's like, well, it's the guitar you're playing. So I've been like thoroughly impressed, and I had told you I wanted you to try one if we got a chance to see one, and sure enough, that was one of the first things that I noticed when I walked in here is that they had the ones hanging up on the back wall here. So, yeah. So it's got the preamp thing in it, similar to the USA model.
Okay.
Okay. Also, I picked like the sparkly finish for you. Nice. Yeah.
The sparklier, the better. My daughter's favorite color is purple, so now everything that I have is purple. Okay. Woo!
So that's for the preamp. It's like the mid boost thing.
Oh, okay. I really like that.
Yeah.
Because it's louder.
Yes. It reminds me a little bit. I don't think it's intentional that the Greg Koch, the Gristletone pickups on his Telecaster set. Does anybody have that, or has anybody played that set of pickups? So Fishman makes this set for Greg Koch that's got this little button on it that it's supposed to be like a revoice and like a little bit of a mid boost, but I just call it the awesome button because as soon as you hit it, everything is awesome.
Right.
Yeah, and this reminds me of the same thing except that you can control the mid control on that. Which it's a little different. Like my Studio Elite is very similar, but it does sound a little bit different, obviously. And And then the Dan Huff model is different because it's got like 3 different settings that you can do for like series parallel, and I don't even know what all the things that the Dan Huff model can do, but yeah.
So when it's out, it's my fuzz pedal doesn't like it too much. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I was really, like I said, really impressed. Again, how the neck feels is what's going to be the most important thing to me because everything else you can change. And yeah, I feel like they feel great, sound good, staying in tune nicely, and that's pretty much all you can ask for. And I feel like the kind of the bar for import guitars keeps kind of getting raised quality-wise too over the last few years. Like specifically in the last like 3 or 4 years, all of the import stuff I play seems to be way nicer than what the U.S. Strats that I would buy in the 90s were. And yeah, it's kind of crazy to see, guitars coming out of Asia that are as impressive as they are.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool guitar. Does anybody have any questions about anything? Anything at all? I see somebody wearing a Winnipeg Jets hoodie. Hell yeah, dude.
Nice.
Nice.
I didn't know they had hockey here.
Hockey's everywhere, man. It's
Yeah,
universal.
hockey is life.
Come on, don't be shy.
Yeah.
Questions. Come on. Hit us. Yeah. No, we just kind of collaborated for the sake of collaborating. Derek and I have been friends for a long time, and I have helped with a bunch of their product development over the years, and so he came to me maybe a year or so ago and said, "Hey, we've got this D25, which is doing really, really well. People are really loving it." And what I didn't realize is like some of my input had led into some of the amps in that sort of line, the D20 and the D25.
You're being super, super modest about it right now. So when we went to develop the D20, which was the first amp that we did that had the 2-notes torpedo embedded tech in it, so the first one that had a reactive load box built in and that you could do IR loading, I called Joey first because it was shortly after the Whiskey record had come out. You had used the Generator 740 on a lot of the Whiskey record, and then you started using the Dynamis because it was more pedal friendly and you were getting most of your drives and gains from pedals at the time. Mm-hmm. So I had actually pitched the idea to you back then about like, what if we could do like a lunchbox size, like 20 watt, like lightweight flyable amplifier so that, when you're going to festivals, because you were doing a lot of fly dates the summer that we were talking about this. And most of the time when you show up, at least in Canada, you show up to festivals, a lot of the amplifiers that are in backline are not in the best shape. A lot of them are pretty tired. So part of the inspiration for the D20 was that we wanted an amp for real gigging musicians that were doing, either session work or fly dates, that they could take something small with them and still have consistent tone and consistent feel night to night. And you gave me a ton of input as to what we should do, because what would have worked for you on the road back then. And that's kind of what led into what became the first D20. So, and you immediately took those out on the road as soon as we had them. And I think there's been a pair of them parked here with the TPS guys for you since like 2019.
There's at least 2 of them there.
Yeah. So, it kind of all started back then. And then every time we would do a product, because Revv kind of has 2 sides, right? Like we have the low to mid-gain stuff, which is all of the Dynamis stuff, or like the tilt overdrive and tilt boost stuff that we did with Sean Tubbs. And then we have the Generator, which is what most people know us for, which is all of the really high gain stuff, the stuff that really leans into the metal community more than anything. You've played a lot of the Generator stuff, and actually, like I said, Whiskey, you use the clean channel on the Generator for a lot of your tones on that. But anything that is low to mid gain, I call you, or you're the first guy that I call outside of people that actually work at Revv to be like, hey, we've got a new product.
I'm your only wimpy friend. That's why.
Yes. So, so when the D25 was in development, I called Joey. He was the first player outside of people within Revv to play the D25 and give some input on it. And we kind of took some of the input from Sean Tubbs about what Sean wanted in it, some of the input from Joey, and then we released the D25. And yeah, it did really well. But I talked to you about like, hey, are you going to tour them? And you were like, yeah, I'm not sure. And you said there were some things you would change. And that's kind of what started the conversation of like, well, what would you change? And then what would that look like?
Yeah.
And once you gave me that info, then I was like, well, why don't we do like a D25 Joey Landreth edition as like a collab product?
Yeah.
So, and actually the amp that he's playing through right now is his version of a D20 head that's coming out at Guitar Summit later on this week as well. Because, of course, as soon as we released a combo, people immediately asked us on the internet, like, is there going to be a head available of it? Because whatever we do, people ask for the opposite of it the day after we release it.
When I did the head with Two Rock, people were like, but are you going to do a combo version? I was like, if you have a fucking forklift license, like, yeah, like,
Yep.
It's like a Hammond organ.
Yeah, there's people who have crazy ideas. I won't out who the artist is, but we once had an artist ask us to build a head that was true stereo 100-watt power sections built into one head. And I'm like, but why not just buy 2 amps? Because he wanted one to run EL34s and one to run 6L6s. I'm like, why not just get 2 amps and we can have an EL34 version and a 6L6? And he's like, no, I want it built into one head. And I'm like, it will weigh 90 pounds and I don't know what that is in kilograms, but lots. I'm like, and no one without a roadie will ever move it. And he's like, no, it'll sell great. I'm like, it will not. I'm like, and we are not the company to build it. And yeah, which made me cry a little when I was like, oh no, we're not going to work with this artist because he's going to go get somebody to do this. But I still haven't seen the amp come out from somebody else yet.
It was Bruce Springsteen.
Yes. I walked away from the boss.
Yeah, that makes you the boss. Any other questions? Like you can ask about playing too. It doesn't just have to be gear related. Who had their hand up first? Winnipeg Jets. You can go first. Sorry? Absolutely. Can I do it after? Okay. All right. Yes. Yeah. Just patience. Lots and lots of patience and maybe headphones. Whatever's most comfortable. Like the thing with slide guitar is the hardest thing about it is getting comfortable with it on your hand. And like to this day, if I have to play something complicated, I'll still take the slide off. It's still not comfortable for me after doing it for almost 20 years. So if you're more comfortable in standard tuning, stay in standard tuning. The reason that I made the switch is because all my favorite slide players played in open tunings. And so a lot of the sounds that I was really drawn to are hard to get in standard tuning. So it's like, there's some incredible players that play in open tuning. There's some incredible players that play in standard tuning. So it just sort of depends on where you're most comfortable. And, like I said, the hardest part is just getting comfy with it on your hand. So I would say more important than the tuning is finding a slide that fits, and then having either dedicating a guitar or having something that you can adjust relatively quickly, like tune-o-matic style bridge that has the rollers to raise and lower the action. That goes a long way. And if you don't have multiple guitars, then I would suggest maybe gauging up a string gauge or two, especially on your high E and B string. And that'll make it a little easier, because like the sort of finesse part of playing slide is the hardest piece to get, and that's where you get a lot of noise, and so it's like I would say just stay comfortable and keep your standards low. It takes a long time for it to sound good, and there's still like I said, I've been something that I'm known for doing, and they're nice when I'm just like, oh my god, is it your first day? Like, what's going on here? So yeah, and that's why I jokingly but kind of very seriously said patience. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yes and no. I mean, um, there are certain times when there's just absolutely no room for the amount of volume that any large amp puts out. Um, so there are certain cases where it just wouldn't be appropriate. It's it's like bringing, I don't know, a pickup truck to the golf course or something. It just doesn't make sense. Um, but a lot of times it's just kind of like whatever I think might inspire, especially if it's something that has to be spontaneous, like a recording session. I will often grab something quirky over something that is tried, tested, and true. But then I'll always have something that I know that if the quirky thing that I picked is not working, I can just like plug in and know that that's just going to get a regular sound. But I tend to try to lead with sort of curiosity, creativity, and not make decisions based on anything other than like what feels exciting. I have this little Tweed Deluxe Klon that like 70% of the time is the wrong amp, and 30% of the time it's the perfect amp. And when it's the perfect amp, it's like really the perfect amp. So like that will often come along, even though it doesn't. It almost never gets picked. But I don't know. Yeah, I am in a position where I have more gear than I know what to do with. So, you know. Totally. Yeah. Yeah, or if my back is feeling up to it. Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, it also varies, like, depending on where you're playing and what you're playing, right? Like, because the great thing about like your two rocks or any of the higher wattage heads is if you can crank them up, right?
Yeah.
And if you're in a place where you can't crank it up at all, you're not going to get it to the point where it actually feels and responds. Like tube amps are almost like living, breathing things, right? Like it when you smack it and it's cranked up, it's
like,
going to
ow.
bite back. Yeah, like. So, like for me, like I often play the 50-watt Marshall heads I have more than I play the 100-watt Marshall heads that I have, because for the application, most of the time I'm not playing anywhere that it's really loud. And even with the Revv stuff that that I play, I don't choose like our generator 120 as often as I would choose like a 40-watt generator if I was doing high gain stuff, because most of the time I'm not in a venue where I'm going to be able to turn it up enough to really see the benefit from it. So, I know that plays into how I choose stuff. I know, when you and I have talked, that's also part of it, right? Like, what's the capacity for really cranking it?
Well, and in my band, it's kind of like never. Like,
Right.
Yeah, we can't really. Although in recent years we've definitely been louder than past years, but we're still pretty quiet. Considering we're kind of a guitar-y band.
Right.
Yeah, it's never really like. Yeah, sound check level is different than show level in this direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. To the young man here.
When Joey got here earlier, we had a quick sort of 5-minute catch up, and then we were like, Joey, I need to help you sell 2 guitars. So
Oh yeah.
we put 2 of Joey's signature Duesenberg guitars in there. He started playing them, and we've got them to sign as well, by the way. And you said, like, pretty much straight away, this one sounds better than my guitar. I think I want to like use this one tonight. So
Yeah.
I just think like it's really cool that there's a signature guitar on the market that you put your name to that's you could grab off of any wall and play. And whereas like in the past I never thought I'd see you with a signature guitar, because you've always had like Sir, Collins,
Yeah.
Your friends' guitars.
Yeah.
That you played and stuff. What made Duesenberg hit the spot there?
Well, I mean, this is also not really technically a signature. The the Duesenberg, their Alliance series is much more of a collaborative thing. There's certainly no exclusivity, and the Duesenberg folks have been good friends of our band for a long time, and we had been toying with some different ways to participate in stuff together and do things together. And so I pitched the idea of doing a guitar and bass together, because my brother was playing one of their Star Player basses a ton, and then they had loaned us one of their other basses that he wound up falling in love with. And so he was like, I love this bass, but it's really big. I wish I could marry them. So there was kind of like, well, I have some cool ideas for a collab guitar. So I pitched it to them as that. It was like, my Gold Top was kind of my main guitar for a really, really long time. It still is. And I wanted a guitar that did everything else that the Gold Top doesn't do. And obviously, like a Les Paul has a very specific type of thing. So the idea behind this guitar was like, I want it to sort of sort of capture all of my favorite slide guitar players in one. So the neck pickup is inspired by Ry Cooder, the middle pickup is inspired by Bonnie Raitt, and the bridge pickup is inspired by Lowell George. So it's kind of like a smattering. I unfortunately don't sound like any of them when I play it, which much to my own dissatisfaction. But it's a really, really cool guitar, and it's been really, really inspiring. For me, the collaborations that I do with people, like, I mean, number one, it's got to be a great product, but it has so much more to do with my personal relationships than anything else. Like, I wouldn't partner with anybody that I don't know personally. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Like, I wouldn't jump in the bathtub with a stranger. So, not on a Tuesday, that's right. Maybe when we go to Germany. You do freaky stuff in Germany. But yeah, so like the collaboration with Revv is like, to me, it's like a celebration of our 10-year-long friendship, and it's just like a cool thing to do together. And everything from the collabs that I've done with Turok and Mythos, it's all kind of in that ethos. It's like a celebration of these friendships. It is a really cool guitar.
So these are pretty rare. The only two signature ones then, actual signatures.
There you go. You heard it here first, folks. Could be all yours. Anybody else? Yes. That wasn't a fun call. No, yeah. Just for context, I dropped my Sorokin and broke the headstock off. And the first thing he said was, "Did you put it somewhere stupid?" I'm like, "Yeah, yes, I did." And it has fallen over so many times, and so it fell over, and I didn't think anything of it. And then, like 20 minutes later, I was like, I should probably check it. And then, sure enough, it had broken off. But yeah, so I mailed it to him, and he fixed it up, and he and I are both convinced that it's better. Who knows? There's like a very deep gear page rabbit hole that you can fall down of people arguing to the death over whether or not a broken headstock is better or not, and so because my guitar is broken and there's nothing I can do about it, it's definitely better. For sure, it's better. And I'm like, I was like, man, I should knock the headstocks off all my Sorokins. He was like, no. So we took a wander around the music shop today, picking some things, and I found a couple of, well, we did the guitars already, but I grabbed a pedal off the wall from my friend and yours, Jesse Davey of Kingtone, and I don't know, I could play for you some of that if you want to hear it.
Yes, I do.
It's the new Octaland. There's my clean tone. So, he's had a bunch of different versions of this, and I'm a longtime lover of the Tycho Brahe Octavia thing, and so he did a version of that a long time ago. But this has gone through many different iterations. So this is kind of like, as best as I can understand it, it takes that kind of sort of big blue box Octavia and then mixes it with a clean octave blend like the prescription electronic. I think it's prescription electronic cob. Somebody can correct me, but then you can also switch the little transformer in that creates the octave up sound. You can switch it in and out. So without it, it's just a badass fuzz. Sweet.
Yeah.
Loud noises. So yeah, after, if anybody wants to come up and try that, you can.
Is it gating, or what is it doing on the, not just the fuzz, when you bring in, you said switching in the transformer?
There's like a little tiny transformer in there that when you do just the right combination of things, it creates an octave up sound. So if you're on the neck pickup and you bring your volume back and you play kind of around an octave up from where you're playing. Oh, better turn it on. And then it blends it in with a kind of dirty fuzz thing.
Yeah, very cool. What are the switches on it?
They're voicing switches for each side. So there's like I have no idea what they do. I'd have to read the manual, but unfortunately I can't read, so. Yeah, definitely worth checking out though.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah. Any other questions? Anybody want to get into anything? I'm using the Keeley Halo. Yeah, it's really awesome. It's really, really awesome. Anything else you want to get into?
I'm gonna try that pedal.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll play a song for that young fellow over there, the hockey-loving dude. What's your name, buddy? Which? Hamish. All right. It's been a long time since I've played this, so I'm going to have to maybe refamiliarize myself with it. And tune my guitar, too. Anybody got a favorite tuner?
Whatever one's on my board.
My very first pedal was a Boss TU2 tuner, and my dad got it for me for Christmas. And that Christmas, there was like this remote control car that I really wanted, that you could like, if you got it, it had controls for the left wheels and the right wheels, and if you got it on the back two wheels and you pushed them in the opposite direction, it would spin like on one wheel. Yeah. I wanted that car so bad.
And you got a tuner?
And I got a tuner instead. But my dad waited till like the last present. My parents were divorced, so we had 2 Christmases, and so it was like we got our Christmas with Mom, and then we go to Dad's house, and then we get a handful of presents at Dad's house, and then he's like, oh, there's one more under the tree. I'm like, hell yes, this is my remote control car that's going to spin on one wheel. I cannot wait. And the box was the right size and everything. And I opened it up, and it was like a box inside of a box, and I was like, yes, it's going to happen. And then I opened it up, and it's Boss TU2 Stomp Box Tuner. And I was like, oh, thanks, Dad. And he actually, it was very sweet. He actually did get me the remote control car. He was just messing with me. But I was so bummed for like a good 20 minutes. Well, I can't wait to be in tune now. Thank you, Dad. It was a thoughtful gift. I'm 8. I don't care about being in tune. All right.
You're a cold day in August, you're a stream too shallow. A heart-shaped box with no letter inside. Your seed unplanted, your field run fallow. Your heart's used up, you're feeling cast aside. I'm sorry that I left so soon, left you standing at the gallows. You were all strong, hangman waiting for the sun. Come see me at the greenhouse, in the backyard, down at the oak tree, with our names carved in the bark. Come see me at the train tracks, bringing pennies for old time's sake, though I'm gone. Memories that you need to take with you. Now you're working up the courage just to walk yourself through that doorway. Big world outside, you're afraid of what you'll find. But you're leaning on friends, finding comfort and laughter, patching up your heart, finding peace of mind. I'm sorry that I left so soon. You're stepping down from the gallows. You were all strong on, hangman waiting for a sign. Come see me at the greenhouse, in the backyard, down at the oak tree. Our names carved in the bark. Come see me at the train tracks, bringing pennies for old time's sake. Though I'm gone, there's some memories that you need to take with you. You found a new lover, got yourself married. You're doing all the things we never got to do. You had yourself a baby, she's beautiful and she's happy. Oh Lord, I wish I could have given that to you, but I left too soon. I was standing at the gallows, I was all strong when I gave the hangman the sun. You don't need me at the greenhouse, in the backyard, down at the oak tree, with our names carved in the bark. Don't make it to the train tracks, and pennies for old time's sake, though I'm gone. There's some memories that you need to take with you. With you. For Hamish. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions or comments or concerns? Yeah. This new amp?
Which one? Yeah. Okay. So we should probably explain that. Okay. So
All you, boss.
There are two new amps that are coming out at Guitar Summit later on this week, and they are two different versions of the new D20 Mark II, is what we're calling it. So this is the stock version of the D20 Mark II. And that is the Joey Landreth edition. And we'll explain the differences in a second here. But the kind of inspiration to do a Mark II is that we, like at Revv, we really pride ourselves on listening to what guitar players, what their criticisms are of us, things that they think we can improve on. And the D20 came out in 2019 and has been an incredibly popular and successful amp for us. But shortly after it was released, we had some pro players that were using it, guys like Sean Tubbs that immediately were like, it'd be really great if it had a bit more headroom. We didn't build reverb into the original Mark I D20 because we honestly didn't think anybody was going to use cabinets with them. We thought because it had, the IR loading system in it, we were like, well, most people are going to buy this amp. They're going to run it direct to front of house or into an interface. And Tunos has some really great room reverbs inside the Torpedo software. So we were like, you don't need reverb because you're going to run it direct. We were very wrong. That was one of the first things that a lot of customers said. And we actually, at the time, we didn't even sell our speaker cabinets through our dealers in the U.S., really. Like Sweetwater in the U.S. didn't carry them because we were like, people are just going to buy heads because most of the time they bought heads from us and didn't buy cabinets. So, people said, more headroom, reverb. The gain control on the Mark I D20 is a push-pull pot on the front, or like on the first pot. We also had complaints about that could we make it a foot switchable boost? So essentially those are some of the things that we did. So this has got larger transformers, it's got more headroom, it's got more gain on tap. It comes with a 2-button foot switch, has reverb on board, and then it's also got a bright switch. And the overall mid-hump of the amp, I'd say the way that the EQ is voiced in the tone stack is shifted to being like more present. I wouldn't necessarily say it's like a lot brighter. I would just say that it's more present and the amp overall sounds bigger. So when I had Joey come in to play test this, that's when he immediately was like, hey, this is awesome. People were asking about a head version of my D25 because this is actually pretty similar to essentially the amplifier in the D25 without the speaker cabinet with some slight modifications. So, you had asked, okay, like, could we do it? And I was like, that's a great idea. So.
And there it is. It was born.
Yeah. Go ahead.
They're very, very similar. Technically, this is actually, even though it's 20 watts, it's a little bit less. So this is getting a transformer upgrade, I think, right?
Yeah, so the transformers in the new Mark IIs are actually bigger than what are in the current D25s,
But
slightly.
for all intents and purposes, like this versus this, they're very, 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 very similar.
Yeah.
And it's just, one's itty-bitty and one's a little bit bigger.
Yeah. One's gold, one looks like a brown face.
Yeah. Somebody else had their hand up. Yes, you, sir, at the back.
Oh, great question.
There's nothing that I have. It used to be at one point that, like if I'm doing one of my own shows by myself or with the band, I will always have my Sorokin Gold Top. That's like my ride or die guitar. If I had to choose one instrument, I would take that. If I can have more than one instrument, like I have a double mono bag, I have the Duesenberg and the Gold Top. Those are like I can do everything I need to do with those two guitars. But like if I'm playing around town, it's no holds barred. Like I have this weird little harmony short scale thing. Sometimes I take that to gigs. It's impossible to play, but it's really fun, So it depends. Like if people are paying a significant amount of money to come and see me play, I will bring the good stuff. If I'm just playing at a bar at home, it's for me anyways. So you get what you get.
I would say yes, I do, but I did not bring it on this trip because my number one guitar is a USA Schecter Nick Johnson custom shop Strat. It's been in almost every Revv video that there's ever been, and I've just become paranoid in the last year watching other people's guitars get destroyed flying that I was like, I'm not going to fly with it.
Wimp.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I mean, I came home and there was nicks on the back of the neck, and I was like, nope, it stays home. So, you know, between that and the fact that Duesenberg was one of the sponsors of the clinic, I was like, I don't really want to bring a guitar out for this, but anything that isn't, you know, a Duesenberg. Yeah, so I actually got 2 of the new, Schecter released an import version that is the same as the USA version, essentially. It's got stainless steel frets, the same pickups, same hardware. So I got 2 of those so that if I'm going to fly, I'll take one of those instead because it's very, very close to my USA. So I would say that and a delay pedal are the 2 things. And my favorite delay pedal is honestly the MXR carbon copy. Like that's what I have here today. It's the most basic, the easiest to dial in. Sounds great. It's nice and warm. And I have probably 20 delay pedals at the office. And this is the one I pick over everything.
What about you? Turn it around on you. What do you got? What are you hiding back there? Oh, wow. So nothing
Okay.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. And all it takes is one drunk person with a pint of beer to say, hey, what is that issue?
Yep.
Yeah.
I get frustrated when a nick or anything happens to my guitar, but like that Schecter comes to every NAMM show. It's hung up on the wall at every NAMM show for every guitar player that comes by to come and play because it is my favorite thing. Out of all guitar equipment I own, it's my favorite thing. It's the first thing that, like, when we started doing the podcast, one of the first things that I said is, I'm like, I want you to play my Schecter guitar. Because I'm like, you don't really play Strats that much anymore. I'm like, but this is the Strat that pulled me back from playing Paul Reed Smiths and Les Paul style guitars. So, yeah. I'm curious about anybody else in the audience. I'd love to hear other people's answer to that question. Like, what's your like precious piece of gear? Because our podcast is called The Golden Age of Gear because we both do feel like we live in this time where there's so much amazing equipment made by so many great brands that, yeah, we just kind of have this wealth of product available at all times now. Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't tried the Free the Tone yet. We are trying so hard to get our hands on the Shin.
The Dumble.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and like we've got a buddy who's got he goes out and buys used pedals, and so we'd be like, we're trying to get.
oh, cool.
Really?
So
Pray tell.
yeah,
May I have his phone number?
I almost
I'll
bought
do another interview.
the anniversary edition, the SSS. I almost bought that Dumbleoid pedal a week and a half ago when I was in. Yeah, the reason I didn't get it was because I played the Dumbleoid. It's the green one. That. Yes. Yeah. It's like I told you right away. I'm like, I got to get one of these Dumbleoid pedals, and I got to bring it in. So Evan's our buddy, and I was with Evan in Nashville, and I'm like, yeah, I'm looking for this pedal, but they're so hard to find in the States right now.
Is he based here?
In Japan.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, they're phenomenal. Like, yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Not only are
We
they
will get one
expensive, but
soon.
they're hard to find.
Yeah. It's the perfect combination. Yeah, the SSS one I was looking at was, I think, like $850 or $950 US on the used market. And I was like, shit, this is an expensive pedal. And I don't know how it is because, like I said, the one that I played is the green one that has the jazz rock switch on it. And I can't remember if it's got the 2-foot switches. I know one has a boost essentially to it, right? Like that's the difference. Yeah. Anybody else tried any of the Shin pedals? Or do you guys know what we're talking about? I mean, it's obviously a Dumble. It's supposed to be a Dumble in a box. Anybody in here played any Overdrive Special amps? Joey and I got to like do that like the first time together. We did a video shoot thing in Nashville for Two Notes with the Torpedo Live, like back in 2017, 16. Yeah, and got to play one. And I've been lucky enough that I have a few friends that own them, so I've been able to try probably 5 or 6 of them since then. And the Dumbleoid pedal is the first pedal I've played that I was like what Dumbles do that most people love is the bloom on a note. That's really what's special about it. The actual tone of it you can get from a lot of different products. And honestly, out of the probably 6 or 7 overdrive specials I've played, and I've played 1 overdrive deluxe, if it was a blind test, I wouldn't pay $1,000 for most of them. Like, they don't sound that great. They don't feel great. One of them is the best amplifier I've ever played in my life, though. So it does really hold true to the, the kind of, it's not really a myth about Dumble that he built them for each different player and voiced them for each different player. It is true that they're all drastically different. And the Dumbleoid is the first Dumble pedal that I've played that I felt came really close to doing what that great amp does. So, but it has way more to do with the feel than it has to do with anything else. Yeah? Okay.
Great.
Yeah. More things to. I have no problem with that. He has a bigger problem with that. I'll find my way to acquire pedals and yeah. Go ahead. Well, I mean,
Well, I feel like I can kind of answer that.
yeah.
From what I've heard, they're not actually trying to become an amp manufacturer. The thing that I heard was that they have to manufacture a certain number of amplifiers in order to keep the trademark.
Yeah.
And those guys have become stewards of what Dumble was doing, and they've become stewards of everything that sort of lives under his umbrella. So, they'll never be another hand-built Dumble amp, because that was the thing that he did, and he built things for specific people, which is why of the 6 amps that you played, only 1 was good. And I've had the same experience where I've played a number of them and have not been excited, but I played one that was like, if I had this money, I would spend it. But yeah. So I feel like there's enough talented builders in the world now that could probably do something cool under that umbrella, but it'll never be the same. But I don't think they're trying to. That's my understanding, and I could be wrong, but
The people who own those amps, they want them to remain fairly scarce. Like, it is a very, very small club of people that own overdrive specials. And I have a friend who owns 5 right now, and he probably is, I would say, the best authority that I've met on them. And he's good friends with Drew Berlin, who's the one who's in charge of Dumble now. And a lot of the stuff, Dumble had somebody else that helped do repairs and that for him, and that's who's helping build those amps. So it's the person that right now, anybody who owns a Dumble, if they were going to send it back to be repaired by somebody, that's who's going to be building them. And some of the amps that they're building, the other thing I've heard is it's stuff that Howard was already partway through but never completed. So they're just completing some of his existing builds that existed before he passed away. And I don't think there will be another company like Dumble ever again in the future. They're just... Yeah, there's no one that'll do kind of what he did. I do find it interesting, and we've talked about this on the podcast, that, for us at Revv, like, one of the things that, you could get the most criticism for is things not being consistent from, like, if you set 3 amps up on the stage that are all the same model, if not all 3 are the same, you get players complaining right away. And it can cause a lot of problems with your dealer network and just with your reputation as a brand. But as guitar players, we've actually, and as people who collect stuff, we've actually celebrated the companies that do that the most out of all other brands in the market. Klons, original Klons, are so unbelievably different. Like, they are not consistent from one to one. And Dumbles are the same way. And I don't know how many Gibson fans there are here, but how many times have you heard that if you're going to buy a Gibson, you got to pick it up off the rack and you got to play it because you got to feel that neck and see if it's the right one, because they're not.
Except for the ones here at Peach Guitars.
No, pick up every one of them and play them. They will all be the good ones.
Nothing but the best for you,
No.
Colchester.
I was going to say, they send the shit ones to Canada.
That's true, they do.
They do,
Yeah,
because they know the weather's going to ruin them anyway.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I've always found it funny that like we celebrate these companies that have some unique characteristic, because everybody wants to feel like they've got the magic, whatever it is, right? And it is true. I'm fortunate to have 2 real Klons, and I called you when just before we did the podcast, I'm like, you got to come try this Klon that I got, and you're like, I don't care. I've played 1,000 of them, and I'm like, but you haven't played this one, and
you were right.
yeah, and it's weird. And when I got the Klons that I have. I played the shops that I got them from. When I got my silver one, they had 4 silver ones, and I got my gold one, they had 3. And I played all of them. They were all different. I picked the ones that I felt had the best feeling to them. Like voicing-wise, they all get pretty close, but they all feel a little bit different. So, yeah, I find that interesting on the electronic side of our industry, that like the coolest things are the things that could be considered like, oh, this one has some extra mojo, or, you know, fairy dust, whatever you want to call it.
Magic.
Yeah, magic. Much like these 2 signed Duesenberg guitars here, played by Joey Landreth today.
That's right, full of magic.
Full of magic.
DNA and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does anybody have any other questions about anything at all before we wrap things up? Yes, my Jets fan friend. My main inspiration? Probably my dad. He led me to every single piece of music that I devoured. So I think I can credit both my parents for giving me unfettered access to their record collection. And of those, oh, look at that. Of those records, was Stevie Ray Vaughan was like my first, like, oh my God moment. Because before I got into Stevie Ray Vaughan, I was really into punk rock, and I had a very weird record collection when I was a kid. It was like NoFX, Mariah Carey, Celine Dion, Boz Scaggs. Yeah, it was just like I just liked what I liked. But yeah, but when it came to guitar players, it was like Stevie Ray Vaughan, Albert King, Freddie King, B.B. King, then Robin Ford was another really big inspiration. Sonny Landreth for slide guitar. He was kind of the first one. And then as I got older, I started to get into more slide players. Ry Cooder, Bonnie Raitt, Lowell George, David Lindley. When I was a kid, the slide music was weird to me. My dad loved it, and I was like, this is just weird, strange, I don't get it. And then I had a moment where I put on a Ry Cooder record, and I was like, oh, I totally get this now. But yeah, those are probably my top ones. How about you? What do you listen to? Hell yeah, dude. I watched your dad tell you had to say that. That's fine. but thank you. My ego is. Awesome. Well, keep listening to whatever inspires you, because that's the most important thing. You, my friend, you had your hand up. Yeah, we're gonna stick around for a bit too, I think. Yeah.
You had a question down front here. Yeah, go ahead. How do you change the yeah, we'll never do a new one unless we've stumbled onto something that we feel has made something different or better. Like, so in Revv's series, like, this is only the Mark II series in the D20s, because the original D20, we got all of the feedback that we did from players about things that they would like to see, and we built all of those changes into the D25 combo. And once we kind of saw that, like, oh, this is significantly better, then we were like, well, it makes sense to upgrade. this, so that we're not still building something that like now we feel could be better. But we won't ever actively look to try to just find ways to upgrade stuff, which is why there's no consistency at Revv from like timelines in between Mark series stuff, because we actually try to look at what are new things that we could do that are completely different rather than looking at upgrading something. And that's why like in our generator series, we moved from Mark 1 to Mark 2. What changed was that we didn't have a wattage selectable switch, and we had a ton of people in the market asking us to make the amp a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter, and they wanted a wattage cut. I'm not allowed to say multi-watt because Mesa Boogie has it trademarked, but the same thing as the multi-watt for Mesa Boogie, so you could knock it down from 100 watts down to like, say, 10 watts. So we had enough, customer demand at the time that it was like, okay, the first amps were about, I'll try to do the math, probably about like 25 to 27 kilos. So like they were really heavy. So then we found a way to make them include the like variable wattage switch, as well as we increased some of the bass content in some of the high gain channels. And then we made the amp more like 20 kilos. So we could shave off enough weight that players would, appreciate it, especially guys that are carrying it into venues day in, day out. And then our Mark III series, we had done the D20, which had the reactive load box and the torpedo embedded. And as soon as we released this, people asked immediately, are you going to do this to your bigger amplifiers? Are you going to have it that we can play them silently at home? So that's what kind of necessitated us, I would say, like moving to having another series. But like right now, the Mark III Generator 120 came out in 2020. There's zero plans for a Mark IV version. And we wouldn't look at that if we do anything, if some reason we found some way to change the circuit, or sometimes things happen where like components become short, so then we sub to a different component, and then all of a sudden we like catch on to something and we're like, oh, this actually feels a little bit better now that we've changed this capacitor value or the diodes or resistors. So then we'll do, it's kind of convoluted, but we'll do like a revision A or revision B, so it's still the same Mark series, but this is most of the reason most companies end up having, at least in amplifiers, why they end up having different models. And I will never sit and tell you that you should buy the new model. I know that's what everybody would like you to do. I'll sit and tell you, you should come play it and see if it speaks to you. If your existing product speaks to you, as much as we want to sell new product, and that's part of why we're here, is to build and sell product, we want you guys to create music. That's the intention of why we're in this. There's no one that I know that builds equipment besides the biggest companies or biggest brands in the world that are getting rich doing this. Everybody makes a very modest middle-class income if they're lucky. So we're not out here trying to promote something and be like, hey, you should get the new thing. It's that there will be people who didn't buy the existing D20 because it didn't have the presence that they wanted. It didn't have the headroom that they wanted. It didn't have reverb. So now there's an option that has that. So that's kind of how we look at things at Revv, rather than just saying like, oh, I guess we better update this. That's a very long-winded answer to, yeah. As Joey says, I have the gift of gab and don't know how to shut up, so. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, that's a good question.
You plug it in?
Yeah, I did. Sounds like I need to tune. I'm going to guess that it sounds exactly like a Klon.
So much better.
Yes. I neglected one very important thing.
You gotta plug it in or what? I could have sworn I heard a change, to be honest.
It's subtle, real subtle.
Super subtle.
Sounds and feels like a Klon.
I'll give you 200 pounds for it, John.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome.
Can I borrow 200 pounds?
Yeah. You ready?
Okay, fine.
Yeah, yeah. You want that guitar? Here, I can give you. How many of you guys here have played real Klons or own them? Anybody here like Klons? Like, is that your? What's your go-to drive? Yeah. Okay. Yep. It has the same thing, like when we talk about like Dumbles having bloom, Klons have this bloom that just, John, would you agree that like most clones don't do that? They'll get close on the voice, like really close, but how it feels under your fingers is the difference. And I'd say yours lands in between my gold and my silver one. My silver one is like it has almost more gain than most Klons have and is like really immediate. Where the gold one is overall smoother. Like you preferred the gold one, I'm pretty sure. What's that? Yes. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
We should probably let these guys go home.
Yeah.
We've been talking for a long time, but thank you so much, everybody, for coming in. Thanks again to Peach Guitars for hosting us, and I'll be back in April of next year with the band touring. So please keep your eyes peeled to our website and come down and see us play if you're so interested. But yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah. Thanks, John. Yeah, thank you.
So Derek kindly sent over a load of T-shirts. We've got sorted in size order, so get in there quick if you want one. So yeah, just want to say big thanks to everybody for coming out. We always appreciate the support, and you know, for seeing these two legends. Come on, put it.
Thank you. Yeah. Awesome.
Any questions, anybody? Plenty of the staff about. We've got these two lovely actual signature guitars for sale, so if you want to treat yourself, we've even got a video shot of the actual